Behind me is Billund Airport and we're about to catch a flight on the Dornier 328 jet with BA operated by Sun Air. I'm used to flying on busy commercial jets with hundreds of passengers pushing in line to board the aircraft, but this would all change today. Including myself, this flight is carrying just 10 passengers over to London today, which is pretty crazy but not very surprising. We'll talk about that later in the video. The airport staff planned to walk us out to the aircraft via this door, but it decided to break and not open for us. This didn't cause any delay to the service though. Instead, we headed down the jet bridge and down the tiny steps there, which is honestly a really cool way to access the ramp. Sun Air of Scandinavia, commonly known as Sun Air, is a Danish airline that operates corporate charter services as well as scheduled passenger flights as a franchise partner of British Airways. Here's our aircraft for today. Oscar Yankee November Charlie Oscar, a 22-year-old Dornier 328 jet. Let's hop on board. Thank you. Hi. My seat for this flight is 10F. Let's get comfortable and have a quick look around.
Welcome on board this London City flight. We are doing our last paperwork and we are ready for start engines, and on top of the clouds we have very nice flight conditions. Flight time is estimated to be an hour and 35 minutes. We wish you a pleasant flight. Thank you.
Firstly, the seats are actually pretty well padded and very comfortable, and what makes it even better is the fact that the airline also decided to provide a pretty decent amount of legroom, keeping in mind that I'm 6'1". The seats even recline, which is great, although maybe my choice of seat wasn't so great. The wall behind me didn't allow much wiggle room for me to recline. The tray table is actually quite big, which is a nice touch, especially if you're commuting and need to do some work on a laptop. Last but not least is a safety card. Nothing too out of the ordinary here, just a few tips and tricks on how to run for your life. One thing I would like to point out is the airline's on-time performance. Check this out. These are the timestamps from when we recorded two separate clips. The one on the left was taken when I first sat in my seat, and the one on the right was taken just as we entered the runway for takeoff. Talk about a speedy departure. Here we go then, time for takeoff. Now that we're airborne, let's quickly talk about the aircraft itself. The Dornier 328 jet is the jet-powered version of the original turboprop Dornier 328. The jet-powered version of this aircraft was designed to cater to markets that require higher speeds and longer range. It's equipped with two Pratt & Whitney PW306B turbofan engines, giving the aircraft a top speed of 530 miles per hour and an approximate range of around 1500 to 1800 nautical miles, depending on the aircraft configuration and load. Its specs make it a very versatile aircraft, which is great for regional airline requirements. Production of the Dornier 328 jet ended in the early 2000s, with only a limited number being built. This is one of the reasons why we couldn't resist the opportunity to book a ride on one and share the experience with you all. With that said, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Now then, it's time for food at 34,000 feet over the North Sea. The crew member was very quick to make their way around the cabin with the complimentary food and drink service. Here's my dinner, or somewhat of a dinner. The main dish didn't really appeal to me at all, so instead I swapped that out for a bread roll. That aside, I got some mixed nuts, crackers, a slice of cheese, orange juice, coffee, and to my complete surprise, a strawberry sorbet. Was it good? Yes, it was. With such a sparse number of passengers, it felt almost like a private dining experience in the sky. Speaking of sparse numbers, there's a grand total of 10 passengers on this flight, like I mentioned earlier in the video. Why, you might ask? Well, in total, there are just 32 seats. The back 2 seats are reserved for the crew member, so in theory, there are only 30 bookable seats on this aircraft. There can be many reasons why flights operate emptier than others, so it's hard to determine why exactly this one is so quiet. I asked the crew member how busy these flights typically get, and they said they've only ever flown 20 passengers at the most. This could be due to the fact that it's a business-oriented route, or perhaps there simply isn't a huge demand for it. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the tiny toilet. My expectations weren't so high for this part considering the size of the aircraft. As you can see, it's quite basic. One thing I found quite funny was the incredibly low water pressure. Washing your hands might be a little bit hard here. With the loo review over, let's get comfortable and prepare for landing. Check out the view of this wind farm as we descended into London's busy airspace. If we peek out of the other side of the aircraft, you can spot the Isle of Sheppey and the Dartford crossing. Right, let's buckle up, it's time for a steep approach into London City Airport. There you have it. Just 1 hour and 25 minutes later, we're on UK soil. All in all, it was a really smooth and comfortable ride over to London today. The journey was flawless and a really enjoyable experience. We think the Dornier 328 jet is a really cool aircraft, but what do you think? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section and let us know if you'd ever consider flying on this awesome piece of German engineering. As always, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one.